Hey everybody, it's Brooke. Welcome to another episode of the A Knit Soul podcast. My camera is finally focusing correctly. This is actually take 4 and it's Tuesday of all things. I've had the most trouble getting this episode recorded, but I'm excited that I'm finally good to go and ready to show you guys what I've been working on. First, I have a finished object. I finished my Find Your Fade shawl and this thing is enormous. I am not 100% sure that I love it because honestly it's not really all that wearable. It's a little bit big, and you know, I talked all that stuff about needing a, big shawl because I'm not a small person, but I think that this is taking it a little bit too far. It has been washed and blocked. It has not, my ends have not been woven in though. If you are new to the podcast, first of all, thank you for checking me out, and I'll just quickly go through the yarns that I used on this. The first yarn is Fall Riches from my shop. The second yarn is the purple from the Winter in Iceland in my shop. This is some Knit Picks gloss that I overdyed in the blue with purple speckles. This is some yarn from Highland Handmaids. This is Rose Dream from my shop, and then this is some more Knit Picks gloss that I overdyed. I am happy that I'm done with this and have already casted on other things. And I actually did end up getting a second set of size 4 needles. I found myself in the mood to knit lace, and I was looking at a whole bunch of lace shawls and trying to figure out what I wanted to do. And then I was like, wait, I purchased this Creatrix Mystery Knit Along, and even though it's not a mystery anymore, it's definitely got some really cool and interesting lace going on, so I should knit that, and I've got the yarn for it. So I'm going to start that soon, but I already started on a different shawl for the Thistle Hollows Lime Along 2017. So on that note, let's get into works in progress. My first work in progress is a new cast on. This is the Sizzle Pop shawl. I'm making the triangular version, and this is using the Cascade Heritage sock and the Manos del Uruguay Alegria in Carnival. This is my second time starting this. I had to rip it out because I ended up dropping some stitches, and this is my very first time doing brioche, and I had no idea what I was even looking at and what it should look like in order to be able to fix the stitches. The pattern also does not explicitly call out how many stitches you should be at after each set of repeats. So I think I'm going to go note that for myself. I did make a little chart of how many times I've done the repeat and checking each row, because that's how much detail you have to have with all the increases and decreases with this. In order to figure out how to do brioche, I attempted to watch the Craftsy class on brioche knitting that's taught by Nancy Marchant, but I actually wasn't able to figure it out because she knits English style and I'm a continental knitter, and it looks like she was doing a lot more than she really was, and I was just getting incredibly confused. So by hunting around on YouTube and watching her 5 seconds of continental brioche knitting, I was able to figure it out, and I think I'm doing pretty well so far. I'm very excited for this guy. I think it's going to be a really beautiful shawl, and it'll be good for both fall and for whenever I feel like wearing some pretty colors. The next work in progress is also new. I told you guys I was going to start this last week, and I definitely did. This is another project that I had to rip out and start over. This is the Espresso Shot Shortie socks, and I initially started on size 1 needles with 60 stitches, and at the gauge I was getting of 6 stitches per inch, I should have been between 50 and 52. So I went down to a size 0 to see if I could get a little bit of a denser gauge, and I also reduced the stitch count. So we'll see how this goes. I may end up having to rip it out again, which I'm okay with. I would rather begin to knit a sock than to knit a gauge and have that just be useless. For the heels and toes, the heel is an afterthought heel. I'm planning to get some Knit Pick Stroll sparkle in black for the heels and toe. And this is the Fiber Nymph Dye Works Bedazzled in the Trekkie colorway. So you can't really tell super well, but it is sparkly. In progress is another new cast on. I have been still working on that shawl that I was creating that I cannot show you guys just yet, but I was in the mood to start a couple new projects last week, so that's what I did. This is the Make a Long Story Short scrap blanket. It is made out of fingering weight yarn on size 3 needles and is a very simple free pattern on Ravelry. It's just all garter stitch. And I am just starting out with doing 10 rows of garter per color and just going in sequence, and then once I run out of colors I'll start over. And I'm assuming that once it gets to a certain size I won't be able to get quite that many out of the scraps that I have. I've just got them in a basket next to my bed to knit when I am just wanting something that's really just plain and regular. So I found a swap group on Ravelry and ended up ordering 35 mini skeins, 35 5-gram skeins, and they were just $1 each. And she had some pretty cool ones in there. A lot of Cascade Heritage sock, which I have been a huge fan of, and she also had some other cool options in there too. So that'll be fun to throw in here because I don't actually have a ton of scraps. So that'll be fun to help fill it out and use some yarns that I normally wouldn't use for a whole project, but to make the blanket more interesting. Acquisitions. My first acquisitions I told you about last week. I bought these clear Converse from journeys.com. They were about $40, and these are amazing, and these are definitely my favorite shoes. I wore them to work on Friday with some socks that I had knit, and it was just the most fun to be showing off my hand knit socks, and I can't wait to make more socks so that I can show them off in these shoes. This acquisition I also told you about last week, but this is not the same as what I purchased and dyed last week. The first round of sock blanks did not go well at all. I actually am almost embarrassed to show it to you, but I will still post a video of how to dye a sock blank and fail. And hopefully this time I will be able to actually make it into a success. I also bought some resist off of dharmatrading.com, and I think that that's how people achieve the colors that don't pool in the sock blank, which I should have known, or I should have thought about it sooner, but you know, it's fine. We all learn, and you know, you can't just stop at a failure. You got to keep going until you succeed. So I got 2 more sock blanks, and I'll dye these and film the video as well. And I ordered them from FiberArtCafe on Etsy again. She does create them to order, and you can specify whether you'd like single or double stranded sock blanks. And she sent me 2 more cute little stitch markers. That's it for acquisitions. On to Can't Let It Go. This week, my Can't Let It Go is an audiobook that I just finished listening to. It also does come in a physical book format and Kindle as well. It's called Killers of the Flower Moon, and it's about the killings of the Osage Indians in the early 20th century. They were displaced by the U.S. government onto land that everyone thought was rocky and fertile. It turned out that they were on top of the largest oil fields in America that had been discovered at the time, and also that one of the chiefs had written in mineral rights into their contract with the U.S. government. Unfortunately, they were not recognized as full citizens by the government, and so the millions of dollars that they made from the oil that was being drilled from their property was funneled through guardians who managed the money for anyone who was a full-blood Indian. In turn, these people were able to embezzle their money, and even as to murdering many, many people. The book speculates that there were scores of confirmed suspicious deaths, but that there actually were most likely hundreds of suspicious deaths. And in the time period from when they were all recorded to about 20 years later, 600 of them died, and that was outside of the normal death rate at the time. What happened is that there was a lot of collusion with the local law enforcement, the local justice system, and the people who were perpetrating these acts. All of them were in it together to help perpetrate and then conceal these acts so that no one could ever get convicted. The book also goes into discussion about the FBI's development under J. Edgar Hoover and how he created it and grew it as a national law enforcement agency. And Tim White was actually the FBI agent who was able to put the pieces together and got lucky enough to be able to get the proper confessions in order to secure convictions of one of the people who was responsible for a few of the murders. Unfortunately, it seems like a lot of the murders were never solved, but I really loved the book. It was incredibly well written. I did like listening to it because I was able to knit at the same time, which was awesome. And also, it's just illuminating into our history, which is from not so long ago. A lot of these people didn't die until the 1980s, which is just 30 years ago. And that's also, you know, not long. It's crazy to consider. It's always crazy to consider the timing of things when you're looking at history and looking at the awful things that have happened so recently in our past. For example, the fact that Anne Frank and Martin Luther King were only a few years apart in age from each other, meaning that they were being the transformative people that they were at the same time. Where, you know, people, I think that the Indians being displaced from their land happened so long ago, but all of these events of these Osage murders being covered up, of the juries not wanting to convict them to give them the death sentence, but give them life in prison because they didn't think that it was truly a crime to kill an Indian. That was all at the beginning of this century, and it's crazy. But it was a really good book, and if it sounds mildly interesting to you, I think you should definitely check it out, and you will definitely enjoy having read or listened to the book. It's got a lot of good quality information, very well written, and is a very compelling story. Alright guys, that's it. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Hit a like for having to shoot 4 times before my camera decided to act right. And if you'd like to see more videos from me, definitely hit that subscribe button to get notifications. I have a lot of videos planned to be coming up. I just have to get them all edited. Alright guys, that's it. Thank you so much for watching this video. Hit the like button for having to film this 4 times before I got it right. And if you'd like to see more videos from me, please subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell so that you'll get a notification as soon as I upload a video. Before we go, I actually almost forgot. I got these beauties in the mail. This is yarn from my April-May shop update, which will be live by the time that you are seeing this video. And if you're interested in checking these out, definitely check out my website at www.fullyspun.com. Excited to have this package at my door. I was on the phone with my mom and literally started screaming, and she thought I was dying. But I was just incredibly excited. I really love the transformation that happens when this yarn is spun at the mill versus how I send it to her. So that's really it this time. Thank you again so much for watching. And if you'd like to support my channel, check out my Patreon link down below. A little bit of support goes a long way into helping me make more and better videos. I'd also like to thank my first 2 patrons, Aldea and Carmen. Aldea is my sister, and she joins me every week in the virtual knit nights. I'm hoping Carmen will join us soon as well. And if you'd like to figure out how to join the show and chat along with us live, check out my Patreon link down below. And of course, you all are always welcome to watch the live stream and chat with us over the messenger. And thank you again for watching this video. I hope you all have a great day.